Now we're really moving to a Web 3.0 economy that is not only decentralized, but that users can own their data. Definitely a lot of things to be excited for 2022, from CBDCs, metaverse, how Web 3.0 and gaming is coming together.
The education system is being now, reimagined. People are being working on it.
Of course, other countries will watch what's happening in China. There's no doubt about it. Are they going to be able to replicate it? Yes or no?
18,000 active developers, monthly active developers that are working on Web3 projects at this point.
New year, new hopes, new aspirations. Well, you could use that to describe any sector, and more so the cryptocurrency space. Now, 2021 has been an interesting year, with Bitcoin reaching record highs on one hand and China dropping the axe on crypto on the other hand. NFTs got bigger, and regulation around crypto in India got absolutely nowhere. But as the interest levels in cryptocurrency and interest in blockchain technologies reach new highs, it's a good idea to understand what the leaders in the space are thinking as we gain momentum on 2022. So today, please join me in welcoming Henri Arslanian. Henri's huge. Now, he does lots of things, and we could spend an entire session on his career graph. But for the moment, Henri is the PwC crypto leader and the former chairman of the FinTech Association of Hong Kong. And he spent his career in advising exchanges, banks, regulators, the industry, and the academia on crypto regulatory and policy matters. Henri, delighted to have you plug in here on Business Insider India. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Please also welcome back Siddharth Menon. Now, Sid is the co-founder and COO of WazirX, India's leading crypto exchange. Now, we've had the delight of having Sid join us here on VI with some candid thoughts on the landscape. And with you being on the forefront, Sid, we look forward to having some more interesting POVs today. Thanks for joining in.
Certainly. Looking forward for this.
Henri, we want to start off with you. You do your annual, projections. You had the 2021 report, you had the 2022 report. The 2022 report is what everybody's talking about. But just looking back at the year that's gone by, Henri, one thing that was exciting for you that kept you up in the nice sense, and one thing in the crypto space that was an absolute headache pill for you, wondering what is happening.
Well, I think there's a lot of good things. The beauty of the crypto industry being 24/7 and never stopping, it keeps us awake a lot, but often for the good things. I think 2021 was an absolutely record year, historical year, not only for crypto, but when it comes to the history and of money as well. Some of the big things that really amazed me last year was really the large entry of retail players. We've been talking about the entry of institutional player for many years. To put things in perspective, we started the year with about 100 million crypto users around the world, and really by the summer we were over 200 million already, and we're probably now over another 250 or 300 million as we speak. So really the entry of people entering the crypto space has been absolutely incredible. And to put things in perspective, only last month, there's about $500 billion a month of fiat to crypto volumes. Is about $1 trillion a month of crypto to crypto on crypto exchanges, and about $1.5 trillion of volumes a month in Bitcoin futures alone. So there's definitely a lot of activity on that side. The one probably that really shocked me was El Salvador, the country of El Salvador, accepting Bitcoin as legal tender. Other countries had looked at doing something similar before, but more as a means of payment. Japan is a good example, but El Salvador was the first country to recognize Bitcoin as legal tender. I think what the implications were quite important. They had a lot of backlash from the likes of the World Bank, the IMF, organizations that were created on the back of the Bretton Woods meeting in 1944, where the US dollar was recognized as the world's reserve currency. One thing that's going to be interesting to watch is if other countries now follow suit. Not only other countries that accept the dollar as a de facto the de facto dollarized, like countries like Panama, other developing countries like Paraguay, but other countries now have been looking at it as well. The small country of Palau has looked at doing government-backed stable coins. The small islands of the country of Marshall Islands in the Pacific, they're looking at launching a decentralized currency. So a lot of exciting things happened in the last year. Maybe the one thing that always keeps me up at night are bad apples. While there's many people across the crypto ecosystem, across the crypto community who are generally working hard endlessly to build the future of finance, there are unfortunately some bad apples, people trying to take advantage of the situation to make a quick buck here and there, a complete breach of regulations and complete breach of basic fiduciary duties, and frankly, a complete breach kind of common sense towards other people. And I think that's one of the things, while a lot of us are building the future of finance, there's always, like in other industries, some bad apples. And that's always the extent of the impact they can have is what that keeps me often up at night. Back to you.
Thanks, Henri. And there's something we say in Business Insider all the time: do your research. And that's just to add on to what Henri was just saying. Henri, Sid, before I come to you, Henri, you said something last year that retail investors and my mom should be able to buy Bitcoin easily. And that seems to be pretty much happening because we're looking at $1 trillion. And guys, 1 trillion is an insanely big number. That's 1,000 billion. And that volume rising is obviously an exciting thing for Sid and WazirX out there. Give us an overview of your 2021, Sid.
I'm very, very, sort of surprised. I would not say surprised, but you're waiting for this moment for like a couple of years. You've been building around it, and to finally see how things are panning out. Like in general, the crypto is trying to find its adoption into many, many industries. Primarily two very important industry that it has sort of, just getting started is the whole NFT art market and the NFT game market, right? So imagine just the technology being able applied in a right way has given rise to a completely new industry right there, right? Like, so we are talking about 23 billion in volume a year. And it's just a beginning, right? We saw this we saw a very small version of this in 2017. But this is like a next level. All these artists, who never had access to, a lot of these things, right? Like, being able to sell their artwork. Suddenly, there's a market where they can start selling and start making money out of, right? Like, so this is an amazing value creation that the technology has given for the early guys who are actually coming into this part. And you would see a lot of, even in 1 year, the whole art market has evolved from, basic one art to series of art to a project which is backed by XYZ things, a generative art, many, many things. Like, it's pretty exciting to see. The other very, 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 a very potential market that we are all talking about is the game market. As you all know, on the internet, the one of the biggest industry or a industry that not a lot of people see is the game market. And that is now taking its shape and reimagined in the crypto world. Primarily because, before people were able to spend money, they'll keep spending money and, games will make billions of dollars, but they were just spending money. They're spending time and money. But now, if you build a great economy, there is literally, you being part of an economy and where you can actually play and earn. It's a concept that's just, it's been there, but now crypto makes it more real, right? Something, the token that you earn out of is something that you can go and sell and you just have some cryptos with you. This cannot be imagined before, and it has simply taken the world. And I've been following crypto games since 2017. I always believed in it, helping a lot of game devs to build on this. But to suddenly see that coming live is amazing. So I think that's also contributed. I think in Q3, Axie Infinity itself did about close to 21 billion in NFT buy and sell. So when you think about it, you're just tinkering with a powerful tool with basic adoption where it can be used, and that by itself is literally moving the market right here. I'm pretty sure it's going to be a very tough job for Henri to keep up with all these things here, as new use cases have come in where even governments have not thought about it. Countries are just trying to figure this out. What is crypto, and suddenly you have another a flood of new use cases coming in so fast that everybody is have to adapt to it. I think it's pretty exciting times, and really looking forward for this. And it's happy 2021.
I had some developer friends of mine who were extremely angry, who were saying, angry on several fronts, saying that, look, everybody thinks crypto is cryptocurrency, it's cryptography, and that is used over blockchain. So people should understand that before they give crypto all the credit. Fair enough, which means that, cryptocurrencies and NFTs are just one use case implementation of blockchain technologies, and innovations in that space just seem to be soaring up and about.
Absolutely.
And I have artist friends who are saying that I have finally the potential to make money from my work with NFT. And then coming to you, DeFi is something that we're hearing a little bit more often. NFTs and cryptocurrencies are one implementation of the blockchain. Looking further ahead, what else can we expect from blockchain technologies, which would be far more interesting? And we always say that cryptocurrencies are like just like the cart after the wheel was invented. I mean, we still have a race car up ahead. What's in the pipeline in terms of what is in the sidelines that we should be expecting in the year to come?
Absolutely. I mean, there's a lot of these like short-term trends that we talk about, but some of the big macro trends that crypto is enabling are absolutely incredible. Sid touched upon some of them. I think the really one that excites me a lot is this whole movement towards Web 3.0. So currently, as we all know, when we started with the internet, when I started, it was Web 1.0. It was very static. You would go to the internet, get some information, and then we moved on to the current era, which is the Web 2.0, which is kind of with social media platform, which we have the chance to interact with the internet. But the platform, the internet is dominated by a couple of large tech platforms, the Facebooks, the Googles, the Metas that we know of this world. But now we're really moving to a Web 3.0 economy that is not only decentralized, but that users can own their data. And whatever time we're putting, if I'm playing certain games, Sid mentioned Axie Infinity, for example, I'm able to earn out of this game. I'm able to own those assets and be able to resell them. And also whatever I'm producing as a content creator, for example, I own it. And that is a big deal. For example, as many of you know, for the last 5-6 years, I've been producing thousands of pieces of content that I share with my 500,000 followers every day on LinkedIn, Twitter, YouTube, and other places, but I don't own that content. The day YouTube doesn't like me, the day LinkedIn doesn't like me, they cut me off. And the beauty in the Web 3.0 ecosystems is as a user, I'm able to own that. And that really opens up a whole new world of opportunities when it comes to the Web 3.0 economies, many economies that we can't even think right now. And one of them, for example, that is giving rise to is what we call the metaverse, which is kind of, if you want, 3D environments where we can interact with others in our, for lack of a better word, our avatars. And that is obviously another area that is really taking off. And basically, we're going to see over the next couple of 1, 2, 3 years, pretty much every Fortune 500 company come up with their metaverse strategy in the same way, by the way, that 20 years ago, they came up with their online strategy or e-marketing or, a website or e-commerce strategy. But really, what's really amazing with Web 3.0 is that it's a culmination of many of these things, of cryptography, of blockchain technology, of NFTs, of DeFi, and all these things put together are really the foundational backbone of a Web 3.0 ecosystem. And that is very, very exciting, not only for the crypto ecosystem, but for society more at large as well.
And that means that you need more adoption of these technologies to come in before it becomes far more all-pervasive. Sid, on that note, right, in the sense that 2021 was great for you guys with a lot more people signing up, but you have a lot more things in the fray out here, like Web 3.0, Metaverse. How are these things playing into your mind when you're looking at the year to come?
Yes, I think Metaverse is an experience, right? So when we are already sort of living in a Metaverse, right? The more time you spend on your screen and outside your real world, it's almost like you're not in reality. It's just that the experience was 2D. Now we are going to a more immersive experience. And I think that's progressive and it's just going to get better over time. How crypto is playing this is making it more real, economically making it real. And that's a very important point because so far it was just playing any other game, just playing, being, hanging out with friends. But now, economically being sort of driven by this, metaverse, is things get real. You do work. If you do work inside a metaverse, you get, something in return, and the exchange of value starts happening, and that's how you make this metaverse more real. And I think we are going to experience this. We are going to see a lot of these, small metaverse being tried out. People playing it. People probably, exchanging thoughts. People it can be about metaverse about education, metaverse about just playing, hanging out. Other can be in fact conferences. The networking can be incentivized in a good way. So in general, we will see these models coming in. At least when we talk about the gamification layer coming in on top of products, and in general, right, what we are learning from the whole crypto evolution is basically the gamification layer, the incentive layer, which is coming to all the products. And it's coming in a way where it is more decentralized, it's more transparent and more secure, right? So these are three things that it keeps taking you to each and every use case that you could think about. I think metaverse is something big. The other thing that is just getting started is the whole proof of learning. So just like how you have play and earn, the whole the education system is being now reimagined. People have been working on it. Very early days. I don't know when you say early days, could be a few months, but they are trying to figure this out. How do we bring in a certification model or a self-learning model right on the blockchain where it's just decentralized and you can certify people and it shows you the proof of learning. It's a very interesting concept, and though it's just shaping out, but it's the future of how we can look at universities. And I know a couple of folks just working towards this and how it's shaping out. So I think this could be a very good title for 2022 as well, as we all see it. And of course, the gaming sphere has already grown so much. And I would still say it's just the beginning. There's still a lot to come here, where we'll see AAA games coming in, and trying to sort of grow themselves in 2022. Also, there's so many things that's going to happen in 2022. It's just, we can all predict. But I would love to see more countries sort of adopting to CBDC, at least going full on about it. And I really hope that India also takes a step towards that direction, while we are all trying to figure this out, weigh this out from a long-term perspective. But when we talk about the future being digital, we are talking about currency being digital, and tokenization is the most important thing. Is the native way to actually digitize a currency on the digital metaverse. So I think we'll see these things coming in, and hopefully, we'll see a lot more countries sort of coming along and trying to figure the compliance angle of this, so that they make innovation more friendlier and help all these ideas come to life, right, and make it less messy when it comes to life for everybody else.
But let's talk about CBDCs for a moment, right? In the sense that one of the sentiments that I often hear about is that CBDCs are like a wet blanket. I mean, they're a very poor cousin of what you're trying to do with the whole cryptocurrency, blockchain, trying to decentralize currency initiative, and then you have CBDCs, which are not exactly that in any sense of the word. And you had ECNY that came about. Henri, how are you looking at the fact that China's gone all guns blazing on that ECNY project and thrown cryptocurrencies out of the window? Is that a real deal breaker in the sense that more countries could start emulating them, right?
Absolutely. I mean, according to the latest data that we have, which is already a couple months old, 86%, 86 of central banks are looking at CBDC. And even 2021 was really, we had some pretty big milestones from, for example, Enbridge, the project Enbridge from Hong Kong, Thailand, China, and the UAE, to Dunbar, which is done in Singapore, and even on the retail CBDC, which is central bank money that people can touch digitally, of course. We had many projects from the Bahamas and Nigeria that really came into force. As you mentioned, all eyes over this year will be on China. I mean, with the launch of the ECNY, I think it's important to understand that China is very advanced already when it comes to its research on this topic. They've had a research center on CBDC since 2014. They've been piloting it since 2017. I mean, only the last year, there were over $9.7 billion of transactions in ECNY that was done. And according to the last official data, you had more than 140 million Chinese that had an ECNY wallet. And even up to last week, it was reported that it was the most downloaded app on the App Store in China. So there's obviously a lot of activity there. A couple of things to remember is, of course, other countries will watch what's happening in China. There's no doubt about it. Are they going to be able to replicate it? Yes or no? Yes, CBDCs are a very powerful weapon, very powerful tool for policymakers, for central banks. Not only because you can see all the economic activity in your country, but also pretty much it makes money laundering, corruption pretty much impossible, because at least with money, a thing of the past. However, there's obviously very serious concerns that people have, especially on privacy. Today when I make a payment, using cash, for example, it's probably the most confidential means of payment. Nobody knows this payment has taken place. However, with a CBDC, everything was visible to the authorities if need be. And this is something that, while it may happen in China, it's not necessarily clear right now if other countries are going to be able to put in place similar CBDC features as well. But there's also many other things, from programmability of money that we can actually be able to embed if we want interest rate. We can make money expiring if we want to. For example, I can send you, 1,000 rupee, but I can pull it back whenever I want it and make the money expire, which is something that can be very useful when it comes to some of these COVID era stimulus programs that many governments around the world are launching.
Absolutely. I can see the kind of a power that it would give a central bank to be able to ensure that the money is always moving about and not necessarily static in one kind of place. Sid, what are your thoughts on CBDC at this point of time? I know regulation in India has stalled. We've been hoping that every budget session there is something to hear about. We were hoping it would happen in the winter session. Now the hopes are on the session in February. What are your thoughts and hopes on that front?
I think obviously the compliance and everything around, that's a problem which a lot of people are working on. But that being aside, let's think about the possibilities that Henri just briefly mentioned, right? Programmability, right? That's a very important aspect. Like, imagine the taxation itself can be programmed in. If I transfer a X amount to somebody, if I do a transfer, automatically say 30 or 40%, whatever the taxation would be automatically deducted and go to GST or the income tax department, wherever it is. So there's a lot more possibility right there where we can actually build out a entire system, the entire country, economic value, with just changing the technology and making it more simplified. I mean, we have seen this, right? We have seen when the government went from paper to online, how things just became much more friendlier, smoother. Things started happening in days rather than months. And, things are smarter. We are reducing the friction out of the entire system. And similarly, when we talk about programmable money, the potential is amazing. Yeah. Today, I think still India, from a banking perspective, has a very better infrastructure where I can send somebody, $1,000 and he'll get it within seconds, right? Not even days or hours, in seconds. Something that is not there everywhere else. And I think everywhere else, the right way to progress, they don't need to do the banking 2.0. They can simply go to the CBDC layer, which automatically gives you, in general, compatibility to a lot more banking and frictionless transfers. So I think for every other country that is sort of thinking about how to make banking 2.0, they can simply jump into this and sort of get ready for the digital era. And imagine going into that era and everybody's sort of ready with this programmable money. You want to do interbank, intercountry, a lot of these things just opens up really well. And I can't even imagine how easy it will be. Like when Henri was just talking about the on-ramp and off-ramp, right? It is still very painful today for on-ramp and off-ramp to crypto or the Web3 world. Very, very painful. And every country has their own, exchanges and compliances around that. But CBDC definitely would make this on-ramp and off-ramp very seamless, easier. And hopefully that will literally, fire the Web3 adoption.
Indeed. So, and nearly coming to the end of our session, let's top it up with what do you expect in 2022. Henri, you have an excellent essay that comes out at the beginning of every year. And for those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, Henri has an essay that comes out, which is essentially his predictions into the world of cryptocurrency and Bitcoin technologies. The 2021 is an interesting report. There's a lot of things that were largely on target and accurate. 2020, the 22 report is also interesting. So Henri, if you could just pick up a couple which you are particularly excited about as we step deeper into the year.
Well, definitely a lot of things to be excited for 2022, from CBDC's metaverse, how Web 3.0 and gaming is coming together. Maybe I'll discuss some of that I didn't mention. I mean, some of the things that I'm really watching over the next couple of years. This series actually will be some of the boring stuff. For example, one of them, we've been talking about the exciting world of NFTs and all the other thing that it brings forward. But one thing that we need is we need some more clarity on some of the boring stuff. For example, what is the accounting treatment of NFTs for companies that are looking at it? Is it an IP right? Is it an intangible asset? When the companies are issuing NFTs, what is the consumer protection on it? What is the IP rights on it? Even from a tax perspective, how do you characterize the proceeds of a NFT issuance, for example? Today, according to the latest data, only 7% of jurisdictions around the world have issued any kind of guidance on NFTs. It was over $23 billion traded last year. This number will be definitely higher this year. And this is some of the areas that we need a bit more clarity. Some of the other things that I'm watching is more on the technical side as well. For example, one of the big things that I'm watching is Ethereum, which is the second biggest crypto asset out there in the market. And it's transitioned from Ethereum 1.0 to what we call Ethereum 2.0. And there's obviously a number of changes going on, but I think that's going to be very important because a lot of the things that we discussed today, NFTs, for example, over 90% of NFT volumes happen on Ethereum, but the fees are very high. For example, in 2021, the average fee of an Ethereum transaction was between $4 to $70. And obviously, I think the crypto community is very patient, is very loyal, but unlike 2-3 years ago, now there's numerous what we call layer one protocols in the market, from Algorand, Avalanche, to Tezos, to Solana, and many, many, many others that actually enable to do pretty much the same thing for a fraction of the price. And there's potentially other benefits when it comes to scalability and speed as well. So I think I'm really watching that development from that perspective, what's going to happen. And maybe I'll finish it off with maybe one that is a bit more soft as well, which is the Bitcoin mining debate, the ESG debate. There's been a big debate over the last couple of years about the environmental impact of Bitcoin. And that was true when China had around 65% of Bitcoin mining. Some of that was happening in Sichuan using hydropower. A lot of it was happening in Xinjiang in the north eastern part of China, in the Dongbei, what they call in China, which was using coal. Now, following the China ban, and especially following some of the events that happened recently in Kazakhstan, we're going to see that completely move to the United States and Canada. I mean, the US right now has become kind of a power maker in the field of mining, has now over 30% of Bitcoin mining. For sure, that percentage will be higher. And why that matters? Because as we're seeing Bitcoin mining move from the east to the west, especially the US, that mining is becoming greener. There's a lot of hydroelectricity, a lot of renewables being used. And that is one of the big concerns, whether arguably how the impact could be debated for institutional investors to come in. This ensures that Bitcoin is more green and is more environmental compliant and is broadly more in line with ESG guidelines a lot of investors have. So these are some of the ones that I have, but definitely 2022 is going to be a very exciting year. 2021 was a historic year for crypto. 2022 is shaping up to be even more exciting.
And I know regulation is a good thing. Taxation is a good thing. It legitimizes things. And I know a lot of people want it to happen. And especially so here in India, we're hoping that it happens sooner than later because it gives a lot more people to be able to get in far more confidently into the whole space. Sid, to close off our chat today, a couple of things you're looking out for beyond the regulation aspect, which we've all been waiting for a couple of years now.
Yeah. I think I'll keep it very simple. We did speak about the gaming aspect, the education aspect, and a couple of other things that is pretty exciting for the 2022. What I see is there's also a very good information distribution that is happening. Right, when you see people from 2019, it's just coming onto the markets, doing trades. But now these guys have got more matured. There's even in the media, like even when I'm having a nice conversation with you, we are not talking about money at the price at all, right? We are really talking about really matured stuff. So in general, there's an amazing awareness that is coming into not just at one level, but it's going very mass. And I see that I actually continue to see that happening the entire year. I know a couple of old journalists really becoming serious about crypto and want to get into it, right? So I mean, think about it, right? So how the industry is changing and shaping people across all kind of verticals. Economists who were busy with probably within a company now have a major role to play in all the Web3 products because they genuinely need people like people who have good economics background. Even when we talk about job opportunity, right? Things have just shot up, right? Like I think there was a discussion on we have about some 18,000 monthly active developers that are working on Web3 projects at this point. And I think the job listing has gone up by 130%. And that too in just like last few months. And it's just, there's a lot of stories around this, right? And I would love to see everything sort of making, while 2021 was one of the epic years, I think 2022 will be one of the greatest years, right? So I think it's just coming together, and hope, we're all there to enjoy this.
Indeed, onward and beyond. And with that note, thank you so much, Henri. Thank you, Siddharth. It's been a delight to have you gentlemen join us here today. I look forward to doing a roundup mid-year and the end of the year, both of you, to generally have you, ascertain how things are moving according to your calculations, and what are the newer things that are coming around, which are making you, recalibrate your forecast for the year to come. So on that note, a happy new year to you. Stay safe, and we look forward to having you both back on Business Insider India.
Thanks again.
Thanks for having us.